So Hex,
Yes.
Maybe you know, maybe you don't. But I was in prison for 2 months recently, so I was a little bit out of touch with what was going on with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what has transpired, my friend? Because I hear there's
Since
like
the
all
last time I
sorts
was on here.
Yeah, man. Like what's going on with what went on with OpTic and what went on with everything business wise and with you personally? I know that you've went on some other shows and you've talked about it in some videos with people.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you were very vague, and I feel like maybe you're being polite. Is there an NDA that's keeping you so vague, or?
I really like that you have blue like on top of your and below your eyes.
This is exactly how the Joker looks in the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, more or less.
Spoilers, Kyle.
Exactly.
So is it really? Anyway, so a lot has happened. I mean, I don't remember when the last time it was that I came on here. But by the time that I came on here, I'd already made up my mind that I was going to be leaving that which is me in a sense. And it was it was a sad time for me. You couldn't see it. Okay, but I was hurting inside.
Yeah, I want to say when you were last on, there was something at OpTic that you didn't detail that made you unhappy, and you were trying to get back on board and right the ship. That's where we left off.
Yeah, and I was. We
let's get into details. What made you so unhappy? What ship were you riding when you were on the show last?
Well, absolutely everything. I was trying to take over everything again. I didn't want to be on the bench that I put myself in for that year and a half. I literally thought that I was going to be out there and it was going to be awesome. I thought that, being a civilian of sorts was going to be great. I thought I was going to be able to sort of enjoy the fruits of my labor and go down that route. But very quickly, I realized that, I still needed to at least have one hand on the wheel and sort of helping people get to the to the promised land in a sense.
Are you talking about now or then? Because that sounds nowish to me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm no longer with OpTic.
Right.
And I choose to call it the company now, so I can sort of
Roger that.
Distance yourself from it.
Yeah, distance it's like anything else, right? Like even this past weekend when we were doing the Old Men of OpTic stream, we called it the Old Men of Umu or the Old Men of Redacted. It wasn't like this thing because it's such a big part of my life. It changed my life.
You're debranding them, Hex. Like because OpTic has a built-in fan base. You're debranding them, right?
Explain that.
So, like, if I were to buy OpTic, right, hypothetically, let's say I was the guy that bought OpTic back in the day, what I'm really buying is the fan base you built. It's the green wall. It's the players on that team, etc. Then I'm hoping that it goes on to even bigger and better things under my ownership. That would be my thought process if I was to buy it. And then if you walked away and said, what, I'm not calling it OpTic anymore. It's just the company. It's the redacted. Then you're kind of instructing your fans not to be OpTic fans. Maybe.
Not necessarily. I'm trying to disassociate myself from that.
Okay.
I'm now with Energy. I'm an owner in a new team in a team called Energy. Beneath it sits the Chicago Call of Duty franchise and also the San Francisco Shock. We could have done the San Francisco Call of Duty team, but I felt that for my story it would have been better to go Chicago. The other thing that I wanted to make sure of is the fact that this is the internet. So for us to sort of associate ourselves with just one city just because is not something that I was willing to do. So this, I think, sort of sends the message that, although we're called Chicago, whatever, because the brand gets released tomorrow. When does this video go up?
Saturday.
Okay. You sure?
Well, let me lay it out in detail. It will go up for very few people. It'll get a few thousand views between now and Saturday. And then Saturday it goes live.
Okay.
Patreon.
But when you say now, what do you mean now?
As soon as we wrap,
I'll kick off the upload and make the MP3. Sorry, Kyle. And people who pay either $5 or $10 a month, I need to get to see it early, and then Saturday it goes live.
Okay, cool. All right. Then I'll hold off because we're announcing the team tomorrow. That better not be a fruit fly. I pride myself.
It took me 10 seconds to get that joke.
Anyway, so we're announcing the new brand tomorrow, the new name of the Chicago franchise, which is I'm super excited about, because when I came out to OpTic, the logo had already sort of existed, and then Diesel turned it into the O and the G that you know today, within like a month of me joining. And you know, I never really had a chance to build or sort of have any input in a logo. You know, the logo was just, this is what it is. And if you think about it, back in the day, how many true artists, true digital artists, dude, any of us know, when this was like beginning? Like nobody, right? It was just a simple graphic, nothing. Nowadays, you have access to like an immense amount of just talent everywhere. The guy that designed our Chicago franchise logo is Sueda, Jared Mirabel Sueda. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's been around for a very long time. He's super talented, and I reached out to him, and he just put together something like instantly, and I was just like immediately in love with it, because that's exactly what my vision was. I'm like, this is what I want. This is how I want it to look, and magic happened where it is.
Cool. Oh, let's clear something up. Now that you explained to me how you don't say OpTic as much anymore, I see it through that lens. And it's like I just saw it wrong before. I get it now. If you ran around still calling yourself OpTic, that would be like another kind of mistake I might like make as the next owner. Like, yeah.
No, I'm not trying to. I mean, look, the green wall.
I get it.
I've been very lucky enough, and we have been lucky enough to have the green wall follow us everywhere we go, and they've made their allegiance very, very clear. You know, and saying that they're a fan of the personalities in the brand and not necessarily the brand itself. And that to me is like the most heartwarming thing ever. It inspires me on the daily, because you know, it is true, right? Like it's just an object out there, a something that people got behind, but the people that got behind that is the people that they were they got behind, the personalities that people became fans of. You know, and that to me is like super, super cool, because not that I had any doubts that they would follow me wherever I went, because I've done nothing. I mean, I've tried to do nothing but right by them this entire time. Every story that I tell, everything that we do is like all for entertainment purposes and for them to be entertained. And I think that we've done a really, really good job at that, and it shows, because we killed it.
Okay, so you moved on from OpTic. Do you have a new team? The new team's name isn't announced. Is the roster known?
No, it's Energy.
Oh,
Energy.
What was it is it the logo? What did you not?
So Energy sits at the top. It's Energy, and then beneath it owns two brands, the Overwatch brand and the Call of Duty brand. So they need to be new brands, because the franchises, these are the rules that they've put forth, and by them I mean Activision Blizzard. That they've done that. If you look at League of Legends and their franchise, they didn't force teams to just completely change their names to start a brand new thing that there's going to be co-shared by the league and the team. My new business partner is Andy Miller, super cool dude, part owner of the Sacramento Kings, and he says that it's exactly like the NBA. Sort of, they mirrored what the NBA sort of model is. So Energy is a team, and within that team falls Fortnite, Gears of War, I mean, you name it, right? Rocket League, Apex, like that's a team, and then Overwatch is another team, and then Call of Duty is another team.
All right.
So
okay.
I'm a part of 3 teams now, as the New World Order, part of 3 teams. And that's how it was on the last one, right? When Infinite acquired OpTic, we also had the Houston Outlaws. So that was also my team.
I have a question about the city thing. So
hit me.
You probably don't know this. There was a time in a very different world when Keemstar and I tossed around the idea of starting something that competed with MLG. And maybe the centerpiece of the idea, and it was his, was that there would be cities. The thought process was people
he had the New York, whatever. Remember that?
I think his was going to be New York. Yeah. I don't recall.
He went and he sent Dog Sensor Martin to an MLG event wearing construction vest. You don't remember that?
We might have sort of parted ways by then. Our little ambition didn't last long as a partnership. But his thought process was, right now, someone who's maybe a COD player doesn't have an idea of where to start. Who do they root for? Is it OpTic? Is it FaZe? Is it Energy? Is it somebody else in Instinct? That's like a Halo. But where do they begin? So he's like, hey, we'll give these guys New York, these guys Chicago. You can have Raleigh or what have you. And then people will have a starter team to root for, just like they do in what am I saying? Football, basketball. Like I'm trying to just existing sports.
Traditional sports, yeah.
Sure, okay. And what do you think? Do you think the city name is limiting or brilliant?
limiting.
Okay.
1,000%. You're sort of like, and I say that very biasly. Obviously, OpTic was a global brand that anywhere we went, whether it's France or London or no matter where we went, we had a massive, sort of chunk of the pie of the fan base that was there. Everybody that showed up was wearing green.
Everywhere.
Half the people were OpTic fans and half were everything else.
Yes. A little bit more.
Okay, my bad.
I know how big it is because I've never watched an esports thing in my life, and I knew what OpTic was. Like, and it was the only one. If they're like FaZe, I guess now I do. But if they're like, what'd you say? What intensity or something?
I said
like,
Instinct, but that's actually
Instinct.
a Halo.
Yeah,
one.
is that like a biking program at your local gym? What is that? Who knows?
Whenever somebody mentions FaZe, I can't think of anything except for Tommy from FaZe, and when he came and did that that Medal of Honor thing at my house, and he was really struggling with the sniper rifle, and like between cuts, the cameras would turn off, and he was, I won't say he was crying, but he was very
anxiety
upset.
ridden. Yeah.
No, he was like, my whole thing is sniping. It's what I do.
You almost got killed in that. Do you remember?
Like for real killed? What happened?
Yeah, there was this massive piece of plywood. Yellow.
Oh, come on. That was
bro. No, it was. You can see it on the. You can see it. It was a shard of. It's not a shard. It was a piece of plywood this big. Ragged edges everywhere, and it was like on camera like that long, and it went by so fast near his face. It would have decapitated him.
Was there an explosion? Is it what you say? Oh, okay.
Tannerite, right?
That'd be a real Final Destination way to die.
Yeah, it was messed up. But to this day, that's the funnest 2 weeks of all of my gaming career.
That was so much fun.
The 1 week.
It was a week at my place, and then you guys did a week in LA.
Yeah.
They wanted me to come do the thing in LA, but I had something else going on. I was filming somewhere else, and they weren't going to pay me enough to go to fucking LA and do that nonsense. That was so much fun. I really enjoyed it.
Sorry, I couldn't be in that thing.
No, I'm sure it's getting hot. Yeah.
Hex.
I am so itchy.
Oh, look. That's the Energy logo.
There it is.
It reminds me of the Wu-Tang Forever logo, so I'm a big fan.
I saw Energy in print. I did like some research. Like I sort of caught up with you last night watching different podcasts, and I never thought of the Energy to be energy. Like I didn't say it out loud. I just thought the 3 letters and not the like enthusiasm energy. Yeah. It's sharp as a marble. So if you were to put yourself in the shoes of whoever gets 5th place at an event, do you think the city thing becomes a better idea or not so good?
What do you mean? If
I'm trying to say, well, you're OpTic, right? So you look at it through the lens of the top team and say, man, cities are limiting. Yeah. Would it be a bonus to a non-top team?
Look, I don't think that the city-based thing is. I mean, I say that, but you look at the Overwatch League and how successful that's been. Having the ability to sort of congregate at a bar and have a watch party where you are all rooting for the same team is super dope, and it works to a certain level. But when you sort of concentrate your entire effort and your entire strategy around building a fan base, you're only doing it locally. So you do all these local activations where you put, posters and radio buys and all this other different stuff where you're putting on the radio. No kid that plays video games listens to the radio, right? Period. Number one. 2, you want to be able to sell to everybody in the world. You don't want to limit yourself or segregate yourself from the world. Like, what do you tell people that have followed my story and my team story, Scumpy and Formal and all these people? What do you tell them when you're from, let's say, Massachusetts, and they're like, well, they are now Chicago.
Yeah.
Are they supposed to pick between their 2 cities? And I say, it's tough. It's tough to pick between your favorite entity and a city just because you live there, in my opinion.
All right. So I hope I can ask this well. Looking at the moves you made, right? Mm-hmm. From, I'm going to start it at 2009 to now.
Yeah.
You made a lot of good decisions. A lot of things went right for you. What would
all of them went right for me.
Yeah,
all
right? Like 100%. People don't know, like everyone started from nothing, but Hex started from more nothing. So what would you do differently? Where would you?
I wouldn't have taken the year off.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on. Kyle wants to say something.
Hex made me interrupt, Woody. Don't get me.
No. I'm happy. We'll even the score by one closer.
I have. So you're talking about regrets. How are you feeling about the OpTic gaming tattoo that you have?
Oh no, it's a part of me. I'm OpTic till it's a part of me. It's gonna take more getting used to being a part of a different team than it is to get sort of unused to being in OpTic. That's a lifelong thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's this period in OpTic where OpTic will always be OpTic, and then there's a new thing, which is just like this thing. It doesn't have the soul that we sort of put into it. So I wear my stuff proudly. I mean, I won't wear the chain anymore, but my tattoo, it'll be there forever. It changed my life for the better. It made me sort of who I am now. And I would not trade that for the world. I would never.
And it's a good fucking logo. Like somebody recently got a PKA tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And that person is awesome.
Yeah, what a cool guy. And
wait, who got it?
It's not one of us.
A viewer got it.
Okay.
We're not in it for that kind of a long haul. God damn.
Jesus.
But one of the fans got a PKA tattoo, and it looks fine and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a decent logo. We really do.
Mm-hmm.
The OpTic gaming thing, I've always thought is one of the whoever.
Yeah,
maybe you
tight.
said that earlier. You did mention
Diesel.
something about that. Diesel did that, huh?
Yeah, but if you think about
Man.
it, right? If you think about it, it's just two words that we made popular by putting it everywhere. Brainwashing,
Yeah, but it just
sort of.
the font and the colors,
Yeah.
that to me is as recognizable as like Coca-Cola. I see that OG offset the way it is and those colors, and I'm like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
When I see it, it's
Yeah.
it's an excellent branding. It's excellent branding.
I
But
like.
would it have been though if we didn't make YouTube videos? Would it have been that if
No,
Right. That's my favorite thing about branding, right? If you think about some of the biggest, like FedEx, right? They stopped calling themselves Federal Express. FedEx means something different. It means those white trucks with the blue sides, etc. Coca-Cola doesn't mean anything. No one cares about the ingredients of it. Pepsi, I think, means even less. These people created brands. I'll say C-Nanners. C-Nanners doesn't mean a thing until C-Nanners tells you what C-Nanners is all about. OpTic Gaming, maybe if you stretch it, it started with the sniper rifle OpTic, but it's turned into the green wall. So, yeah.
It definitely started with the sniper thing, right? Like everybody fucking around in lobbies and stuff.
Yes, it did.
What am I looking at?
And well, it started with the Car 98, but this is what put me on the map, the M40 A03 or A3. And
that's cool as shit. You got it on your hand there. Yeah.
I did.
ACOG
Me and
or
Tommy,
not?
who we were
Do you
just
have
talking
one?
about-
You should have one.
Me and Tommy Temper, who we were just talking about, were in Miami at the same time for a tournament, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna get the intervention tattoo right here," and I'm like, "Yo, no bull," and I swear to God, no bullshit. I had been telling Hitch that I was going to get the sniper rifle, and I like the way it looks with watches. And
Did you get
have you ever had like a veteran be like, "Man, I remember when the M40A3 saved me in Vietnam."
No.
And you're like, "Yeah, I remember using."
I was
it
on high rise, right? All right.
Yeah, I was on.
They were coming at me from the left, from the right.
Coming at me from
Oh,
all
well,
sides.
no,
enemy
it's 40
Couldn't
days.
even get a beat on.
Yeah, it was the intervention then. Yeah,
so I
yeah,
had to
yeah,
resort to no scope.
yeah,
You should
No.
get one in real life.
Yeah.
It would cost you about like that stock. The
Mhm.
M40A3 stock is about $1,000.
Mhm.
Like it's about 1,000 just for the stock. The rifle that sits in it is only about 700,
Mhm.
and then depending on what scope you want, you're looking at $400 to $1,000 more. But you'd have a legit M40A3, and then you want to put the bipod on it, just like in the game, and then you'd be set.
if this building allowed for weapons to be in here, I would have one mounted above my thing. A friend of mine, Rob Turkla, also known as Lonkers TV, he does fishing videos. He's an Army decorated sniper, a literal American hero. And when I showed it to him, he's like, "You couldn't have picked a better rifle." That's true.
Have we
It's
ever,
an excellent rifle.